Hey guys, how are you? Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. All right, so it's been about 2 days or so. I like to give it a stretch, at least a day or two to see, because I expect certain things to play out. So on that note, in my last reading, had said some of you may be receiving a letter in the mail. It should be talking about financial elevation. If you did, you can leave a comment below or even go check out the video before this one, and it will speak about it a little bit if you haven't yet. But let's get on to this one. So I pulled from a few decks, as always. Now, I started pulling before time because I realized it just gives me so much more time to speak, and I'm not sitting here playing with the cards forever. And for me, it's really like a personal feel. If it's not right, if it's 3 cards, I'm throwing it back in. But then, sometimes when I was live, I would do things that I wouldn't normally do while shuffling. And I make a funny face, I close my eyes. But go ahead, let's go on. All right, so we just had the winter snow full moon. And with the winter snow full moon, this brings a lot of emotions, right? So the snow full moon, no matter where you are in the world, you may be literally coming out of or still in this kind of like a hermit mode, right? Through this winter, I get a lot of isolation. So if you've been isolating a lot with the isolation card coming up from the past life, I also get the sense that you tend to do this a lot in the winter seasons. You tend to go into a hermit mode. You tend to isolate. You tend to become more inverted. You tend to go into the dark night, version of yourself, and you do a lot of healing. I also see that there is a loneliness, a longing for love. So it's not a loneliness within yourself. It's a loneliness for a specific type of love. You're not willing to settle for any type of love or any kind of love. There is this one specific longing that you are searching for, and not anybody can fill the shoes. As you see, she's surrounded by 2 men, but yet she's longing for just this one man. He has something that she wants. And you may be like, whether you're the guy or the girl receiving this message, you may find that you're, around other people that are attractive, but yet, they just don't hold the qualities, and you're just searching for that perfect person, and geez, Lord knows, I know perfection is hard to come across. In this hermit mode, it is coming to an end. It's coming to an end, though the groundhog says we are expecting 6 more weeks of winter, and it sure does feel like it. And one says, spring. He's confused. He's shining and he's snowing at the same time. But this is the season, in your life, and it's about to come to an end. I get a lot, again, of you have probably been fasting and praying and fasting and praying with a loss of control, with a loss of power. So a loss of power or control means 2 things. Not necessarily you've lost your power. It's that you've given it up to serve. Kind of like when someone joins, they want to become a nun, right? And so when they decide to become a nun, they give up everything to serve. And I feel like you've given up a lot within this season, maybe even certain foods. Maybe, through Passover and all of that, you have literally given up your favorite things. You've stopped shopping. There's a lot of things that you've given up in exchange for your relationship with your higher divine. You've literally realized, I don't need these material things. This doesn't serve me. But you know what? You know what serves me? serving serves me. This makes me feel good. I feel like a lot of people in this dark time realize that these materialistic items just don't necessarily make you feel good anymore, because you are so grateful and you're full of joy and gratitude. And that gratitude feeling comes from something we already have. It's not something that we're seeking or something that we want. It literally is from the idea of like saying, this coffee is good, and wow, I'm so grateful to have a good night's sleep, and I'm so grateful to have my bills paid. So you've been living in the sense of gratitude, attitude, and gratitude, attitude always brings more. So with the Six of Wands that comes right behind it, the Six of Wands tells me that you're about to step out of this hermit mode. It's not only telling me that you're about to, it's telling me that you need to step out, because you've won. Whatever battles that you may have been going through with yourself, because this is a lack of connection. This is a battle of loneliness. This is a battle with yourself. You have been in a battle with yourself. It's like a fight against yourself of why, you've been battling back and forth. Because again, when I pulled from longing, from the relationships, this is also from your past life. So I get the sense that in your past, you've also struggled with relationships. So, you're coming out on top. You're coming out victorious right now. You're going to shine. This means victorious in my mind. When I see you coming out victorious, you see that wreath. This wreath represents victory, and just overall prosperity. The color red, the dragon, he represents fire. So fire is like, it's he puts the fire under us, but like he's tired, but he's won. And, he's coming through like, I've won, I'm tired. And, he's won his victory. So this is where you are. You're tired, but you're being crowned, at the same time. And the reason why I say you're being crowned is because what happened, and I said that subconsciously without looking, but the personal growth comes out of this. So this challenging, dark, uncomfortable time that you've been in gives you the crowning moment. Like you literally level up. I feel like you're stepping into like your fifth dimension, even so, because you are also with the Six of Wands, right? So you're being told to be the warrior, to have courage and taking on challenges. So if you are planning to take on new challenges, or you have already started to take on these new challenges, the warrior is in you, especially with the Six of Wands, tells you that you come out victorious, that you're going to fight this battle, and you're going to come out victorious. And whatever things that you have done in the past, right? So with the Seven of Swords coming right behind it, he tells me, okay, well, now you've planted your swords down, you're planted, you're good, you're feeling good. And this tells me now that from your past life that you have passions and interests and hobbies and favorite pastimes that you would much rather be doing. Like maybe your hermit mode has been the grind, and you're able to now bring in some more of your pastimes. Like maybe you're victorious over a situation of a new job, and you're able to do what you are passionate about. Like this may have been your silent time, like stepping into your personal growth of finding your true passion with, the gratitude of attitude. Like I think of an artist, right? With the attitude of gratitude and then passions and hobbies, it just gives me artist vibes. You kind of have to live off of this very small income. If you sell a painting, you're grateful to sell that painting because somebody else is hanging in the house, but at the same time, you have to budget this money until you can sell another item. So I kind of get the sense of like you've been budgeting and you've been living in a servitude and gratitude, and maybe you even haven't even been intentionally fasting, but you may have been fasting and praying just by simply not eating. Again, this is all of a gratitude. Okay, let me go back to this. Okay, so with the hobbies, and this tells me, see, he's planting new things. So he's planting some things around, he's staking his grounds. So this tells me that you should stake your grounds also with the peace and tranquility that comes in right behind it. You're stepping into your peace and tranquility. But let me just go back into relationships. There were two things that popped up in relationships. So something here with this relationships, you see how it's a red knot. Though it's in the shape of a bow, it's a knot. This tells me a lot that this could be karmic. You may be suffering from karmic relationships, and they kind of always come to like endings. And you have done a lot of soul searching throughout this past time to understand a lot about yourself, your relationships, why they come to these sudden endings, and what karmic knots have you maybe inherited from your family and your bloodline. And I'm getting a lot of bloodline. This is something that was in you, in your bloodline. Like, this is not even yours. So this karma that you have with your relationships, I'm really getting a lot of, like, it was never your karma. It was like your mother's or your father's, but mostly your mother's. I get your mother's karma or one of your parents' karma, and it's not yours. One of them had the bad relationships, and they kind of like passed it on down to you with the DNA and the ancestral karma, because it's a knot. It's kind of like a knot, and it can be undone. But this is, again, steady work, steady prayer, recognition, knowing where you are, knowing who you are, how you operate, and undoing what has been done. So everything that your parents or whomever your person was that taught you about love in life, if it was wrong, it's time to undo, right? So at the end of the day, idyllic memories, right? So you're seeking these idyllic memories. Like, idyllic memories is like the memories you've had as a child, and this is what you're overall seeking. Like, you want these good memories. They exist. They're there with your passions and your hobbies, and then also the possibilities, the globe. This tells me you may be like looking to travel a little bit for it. You may be willing to step out of your comfort zone after being in such an uncomfortable place for so long. You may be willing to take a leap and bound because you have good luck and you have destiny on your side. So, like, destiny is telling you, go ahead, do it. Do what you love. Do what makes you happy. Chase your passions and hobbies. If you're stuck in this mundane job that makes you feel isolated, right? And you never feel heard at your job, or you never feel seen at your job, and you feel like you've been in a hermit mode for months and months and months, and though every day you get up and go to work, you feel completely alone. This is telling you, like, get back into your hobbies and your favorite pastimes and the things that you enjoy doing. It'll make you feel alive again, number one. But number two, it might put you in with some people that also enjoy doing these things. Join groups, get actively involved on other, groups that like to do hobbies and things of that nature. Stop isolating yourself. This is a conscious choice. There are people out there, so we must reach out with loving relationships and loneliness, and then also the relationships and the endings. I get so much of, like, you've had so many endings and you've experienced so many endings in relationships and not too many good memories. I get a lot of it like karmic. It's always been like either your person's karmic relationship or your karmic relationship. It's somebody who was walked out learning a lesson, kind of always wound up with a crowning moment. But, like, you have to undo these karmic knots, because it's not just going to be in your relationship. It's going to be with your parenting skills. It's going to be with your educational. It's going to be with everything. Our parents, they put these knots in us throughout their whole entire raising of us. If let's just say, for instance, if you came from an alcoholic, this is just way out there, but I'm going to show you how this plays out. Let's say you came from a parent who was an alcoholic, right? So their behavior overall is going to determine how they treat everybody in the family. Therefore, your opinion of how this parent should act within the home, how they should be, what they should do, the things that they find important, the things that they that are valuable to them, right? Versus the things that aren't valuable to them. You will take heed to this, and then you will subconsciously start to plant it into you and think that this is what you have to be. So this is telling you the lace is loose enough to just unravel it. You already see the problem, so just unravel it. And the unraveling is uncomfortable because you've been bent like that for a while, and you've been doing things like that for a while. So it is uncomfortable sometimes to unravel, and your rope does have to straighten out. It's kind of like straightening out your back after it's been bent in a situation for a long time, right? So it is going to be uncomfortable to undo what you've been told and taught your whole life. But just think about how beautiful your lace can flow when there's no more knots in it, right? So we have to undo the knots that are put into our lives, that our parents put there, friends put there, People put these karmic knots into our life just by being a part of our lives. This is why it's important how we control who's in our lives. But at the end of the day, I want you to understand that this is ultimately your destiny. And sometimes, this isolation doesn't feel well. But, remember, you're coming out of it as a 6 of Wands. So when you come out victorious and you come out holding your green wreath, you're coming out into spring. Maybe you're planting some new seeds as you walk around in your 7 of Swords. Maybe you're staking your claim. Maybe you're saying enough is enough, and you're going after your peace and tranquility, and you're going after your hobbies. Then maybe you're looking at the world and you're seeing other places that you want to live, maybe, or visit or travel as we approach spring. So there's many possibilities in the air. With this new moon coming in, the full moon coming in and going out, I feel like the possibilities are endless. Again, when possibilities comes into my face, I feel like your possibilities are endless. It's just all about your perspective and your thinking, and how strong do you believe in you. And just remember always, I'm sure you've been living in this moment, but she's reminding us to, Archangel Hanel reminds us to stay in the attitude of gratitude. And this is where you need to stay, because that's and your warrior mode. So courage and taking on the challenges, which really is encouraging us to come out of that uncomfortable and taking on the challenge, taking on the risk, building up what you want to do, asking for that job, asking for that increase in your salary, asking for a bigger workload to get the pay, maybe going for that job that you've been thinking about, maybe starting that education that you've been wanting to do, maybe going to take that trade that you've been putting off. So all of this is telling you, yes, take the courage, because you come out in a 6 of Wands, and in the spring you're planting all new things. With that being said, I smell my pizza cooking. I hope you guys all have a great weekend, and I'll see you Saturday, Sunday. Bye.